The first time she noticed him, he was sitting in the far corner of the cafe, helping his little daughter stir sugar into her milk like it was the most important job in the world. His suit jacket was folded neatly beside him, his sleeves rolled up, tie loosened, clearly someone who had rushed here straight from work. He smiled gently as the girl giggled, spilling a little sugar on the table. Clara watched longer than she meant to. It wasn't just because he was handsome or that his daughter was adorable. It was the calm about him. The kind of calm that didn't come from an easy life, but from surviving a difficult one. A week later, she saw him again. And then again. Eventually, she asked the cafe owner about him. "That's Daniel," the owner said. "Single dad. Comes here every Tuesday and Thursday. Quiet guy. Good man." Clara nodded, filing it away. She wasn't used to being curious about people. As the CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the city, her life was built on sharp decisions, clean boundaries, and emotional distance. But something about Daniel didn't fit into her usual categories. So she did something she almost never did, she approached him. "Hi," she said, offering a polite smile. "I've seen you here a few times. Mind if I join you?" Daniel looked up, surprised, then quickly stood. "Of course. Please." His daughter beamed. "Hi." Clara sat, exchanging names and light conversation. The girl, Lily, chattered happily while Daniel listened more than he spoke. That was the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Clara found herself adjusting her schedule just to accidentally run into them. It wasn't like her. She was used to people seeking her attention, not the other way around. But Daniel never acted impressed by her title. In fact, when she mentioned she was a CEO, he simply nodded and asked, "Do you enjoy it?" No one had ever asked her that before. She didn't answer right away. As their conversations grew longer, Clara began to feel something. Unfamiliar ease. With Daniel, she didn't have to perform or prove anything. He didn't flatter her. He didn't try to impress her. If anything, he seemed careful. At first, she thought it was just his personality. But then she started noticing a pattern. Whenever she suggested meeting outside the cafe, like dinner or a walk, he would gently redirect. When Lily wasn't around, he kept a noticeable distance. If she arrived early and he was alone, he seemed slightly uncomfortable until Lily joined them. It didn't make sense. One evening, after weeks of this subtle avoidance, Clara decided she'd had enough. They were sitting at their usual table. Lily had gone to the counter to choose a dessert, leaving them alone for the first time that day. Clara leaned forward slightly. "Can I ask you something honestly?" Daniel met her gaze. "Of course. Why do you avoid being alone with me?" The question landed between them like a stone. For a moment, Daniel didn't speak. His eyes shifted toward Lily at the counter, then back to Clara. "I don't avoid you," he said carefully. Clara raised an eyebrow. "You do. You change plans. You keep distance. You make sure your daughter is always around." "I'm not imagining it." Daniel exhaled slowly, as if weighing whether to answer. "Clara," he said quietly, "you're a very powerful woman. That's not an answer. It is part of it." She crossed her arms. "Explain." He hesitated again, then spoke. "Because I respect you." Clara blinked. "Respect makes you avoid me?" "No," he said. "Respect makes me careful." She frowned. "Careful of what?" Daniel's voice softened. "Of making you uncomfortable. Of crossing a line you didn't invite me to cross. Of becoming something in your life that you didn't choose fully." Clara stared at him, confused. "That still doesn't explain why you won't be alone with me." Daniel looked down at his hands for a moment before continuing. "I've been through a divorce," he said. "It wasn't ugly, but it wasn't easy either. One thing I learned is that people can misread intentions, especially when emotions are involved." Clara stayed silent. "And you," he added gently, "are used to being in control. You've built a life where people come to you, where you decide the terms. I don't want to accidentally disrupt that by creating a situation where you feel pressured, or obligated, or misinterpreted." Her expression softened slightly, but she still didn't fully understand. "So you think being alone with me would, what? Lead to something?" Daniel gave a small, almost self-conscious smile. "I think spending time alone with someone you enjoy can change things. Sometimes quickly. And I didn't want that to happen unless you were absolutely sure you wanted it." Clara's heart skipped, just slightly. "And how would you know what I want," she asked quietly, "if you never give me the chance to find out?" That seemed to catch him off guard. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. He started, then stopped. "I didn't want to assume." Clara leaned back, studying him. "So instead," she said slowly, "you assumed I didn't want anything." Daniel shook his head. "Not that you didn't want anything. Just that, if you did, it should come from you. Clearly. Not from a situation I helped create." Silence settled between them. Clara wasn't used to this kind of thinking. Most men she met either tried too hard or pushed too fast. They saw her wealth, her position, and treated her like a prize to win. Daniel was doing the opposite. He was stepping back. Giving her space. Protecting her, even from himself. "Do you know," she said after a moment, "that no one has ever done that for me before?" Daniel looked genuinely surprised. "Really? No one has ever considered how I might feel in that way. They either assume I'm untouchable or that I don't need consideration." He nodded slowly. "You do." She held his gaze. "And what about you? What about me? Don't you deserve clarity too?" Daniel smiled faintly. "I suppose I do." Clara took a breath. "Then let me be clear." His expression grew serious. "I don't feel uncomfortable with you," she said. "I don't feel pressured. And I don't feel like you're crossing any line." She paused, then added softly, "If anything, I feel safer with you than I have with anyone in a long time." Daniel's eyes searched hers, as if trying to determine whether she truly meant it. "And," she continued, "I'd like to spend time with you. Alone. Not because I feel obligated. But because I want to understand what this is." For a moment, Daniel said nothing. Then he nodded. "Okay." It was a simple word, but it carried weight. Clara smiled slightly. "Okay?" "Okay," he repeated, this time with a hint of warmth. "But on one condition." She tilted her head. "You have a condition?" He smiled. "Always." "Let's hear it." "We take it slow," he said. "No assumptions. No pressure. Just honesty." Clara considered it. Then she extended her hand across the table. "Deal." Daniel looked at her hand for a second, then shook it gently. "Deal." At that moment, Lily returned, holding a slice of cake. "Did I miss something?" she asked, eyes wide with curiosity. Clara smiled. "Just the beginning of something." Lily grinned. "Good beginning or bad beginning?" Clara glanced at Daniel, then back at Lily. "The best kind," she said. And for the first time in a long time, Clara felt something she hadn't built, controlled, or calculated. Something simple. Something kind. Something real.